I have always been fascinated by the magical, sacred world of wild herbs, berries, and mushrooms. In this video, my husband and I will show you how to locate, harvest, and prepare a good cup of chaga tea. Surprisingly enough, chaga has a coffee-like taste and delicious, teamed up with the benefits of honey. It is sad that most of the knowledge of wild foods and medicinal herbs were lost over time. Our ancestors knew exactly what to harvest from our beloved forest, mountain landscapes, and shores. But they had to acquire the information somewhere. Perhaps it was by trial and error, or recipes were simply passed down through generations.
Mom, what? You think this is sour?
It's not ripe.
The good news is, all is not lost. To uncover the secrets of eating beneficiary edibles that grow free in the natural world, we must first research and use common sense. Identify and memorize a new food source every season. Do not ingest anything you are not 100% sure of. This video contains advice about chaga, and it is not meant to diagnose, treat, or prescribe. Chaga should not be used as a supplement without the advice of your doctor. Feel free to harvest and consume chaga tea or tinctures at your own risk.
X-Man!
There are plenty of books and references in your language and region. Tommy and I are out looking for a mushroom called chaga, and it doesn't really resemble a mushroom. It's more like bark or something hard that grows on the birch trees. It's easier to find it in the winter when the leaves are all gone from the trees and the trees are bare. When you are out looking for chaga, you have to look at the entire tree, because it can be found anywhere on the birch tree, up high on the trunk or down low, like this example that was all the way down by the roots. In nature, the chaga fungus is a primary pathogen of birch, eventually killing its host. Chaga usually penetrates the tree through injuries in the bark. Chaga has the appearance of burnt charcoal on its outer surface. The center is bright orange. Chaga is really a rare find, as it grows on approximately just 1 out of 1,000 trees. I have always been fascinated by nature. I love foraging for edibles, berries and mushrooms and medicinal herbs. I like to make my own tinctures and teas and get the health benefits from things that grow wild. Even when I was a little girl, I was only about 5 years old, I picked some red berries that looked so appetizing in my mother's garden, but they were poisonous. It's so important to have the knowledge. It's so amazing, the nature, being in the sun on the frozen lake. Just have to soak it all in. It feels so good.
Yeah, it's usually me finding chaga all the time. Erin is, she's up front with her nose down looking for berries and mushrooms and edible plants and medicinal plants, and I'm strolling behind, admiring her buttocks and looking up. And when you look up, you find chaga, which I did right now. Look at this. That's chaga. I found it. It's definitely chaga. There's like one spot there and several spots. See if I can get a piece out. Yeah, that's definitely Chaga. So when you break off a piece, I usually use, normally I use an axe or a long blade knife. So it's kind of woody to the touch, but it's hard. But it's somewhat brittle when it's fresh. So when you want to mortar it up or hit it with a hammer to make smaller chunks, or so you can make tea with it. But that's how it looks like. Charred, burnt surface and sort of a reddish color on the inside. Aaron, come and look. Come and have a look. I found Chaga.
Tommy, you're brilliant. You find Chaga everywhere we go.
I'm the Chaga king.
You are the Chaga king.
I'm gonna harvest some.
Yeah, we can harvest some. And actually, this tree looks like it's dying. We knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah, you always fall. So that's very entertaining of you. Thank you.
Often a mass of chaga will start to form on the wounded area of the tree, usually on a branch that has been naturally broken off. The fungus is porous and you can break off some pieces with your fingers. In order to harvest the bulk of it, you will need to carefully use an axe or hammer. Be gentle with the tree and only take what you need so that it will continue to grow. You can always come back and harvest more when needed.
Here, grab the axe.
Thank you.
According to Rolv Hjelmstad, a Norwegian botanist, chaga is said to have been a part of folk medicine of the indigenous people of North America. They smoked pieces of chaga together with dried herbs in a pipe and burned chaga as an incense. In Eastern Europe, chaga was used as a treatment for upset stomachs, cancer, tuberculosis, and sore healing in the form of tea or tinctures in the 1500s. Chaga can be found in birch forests in Scandinavia, Eastern Europe, Russia, Korea, and the northern parts of USA. So I brought my chaga home with me, and I'm going to break it up into smaller pieces so that I can make a tea out of it. I need smaller chunks, and I'm just going to use the back of an axe. I'm going to put the chaga inside of an old pillow cover, just so the pieces don't go all over the place. I like to break up the chaga when it's still fresh because it's moist and it's easier to break up because it gets really hard like a rock when it's dried out. So just put it in the old pillowcase. And basically just smack it with the back of the axe just a few times. It's pretty soft actually. You can use the side of the axe too. And there you can see the chunks of chaga are much smaller. Now you can either cook these chunks, but it takes longer in boiling water, and you can steep them for like 2-3 hours. Or you can take the smaller pieces and put them in a mortar and pestle and ground it up to like a coffee ground style. And I don't put the lid on this glass for at least a month to make sure that it's completely dry, because if you store it in a tight container, it could actually begin to mold. Here is some chaga that I have stored in a tight container. So I've been collecting chaga for some time now, and I really enjoy the taste of it. Make a nice tea. You can have some milk and honey in it, and it almost actually has a coffee flavor to it. So I like to use this French coffee press. I think it makes a nice cup of chaga. But you can also cook the chunks on the stove in a casserole with water. You have to cook them a bit longer then. But the longer you cook them, the more nutrients come out of the chaga. This is enough for a cup for me. And pour it in. I will let this steep for about 10-15 minutes. And there you have it. A delicious cup of hot chaga. Just gonna press this down. And of course, some of our honey from our very own bee yard. A delicious cup of hot chaga, and with a little bit of sweetener like honey, it gives it a really nice flavor. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so that you never miss an episode.